Hi, and welcome to another LRCC Soundbite. If you've been watching my recent Soundbites, you may remember that remembering has come up several times. As we looked at the story of Moses, we found that people kept forgetting things. Moses forgot about his people, where he was from. The Israelites forgot that God had promised to look after them, so didn't believe it when they got a message from God through Moses. The Egyptians forgot that how, through Joseph, God had saved not only the Israelites, but them as well. And even last week, we looked at how the Israelites again forgot that God really did promise to look after them, as they started complaining about having no food. It turns out that remembering isn't always that easy for us. I heard someone talking recently about how some people think there's something psychological going on when we cross a door threshold, when we move from one room to another. That in some way our brain associates what we're thinking about with the room, the place that we're in. That's why when we go to another room to get something, by the time we get there we've forgotten what it was we went for. And I was reminded of that because I decided it must be true, because I did exactly that yesterday. I went from one room to somewhere else in the house, completely forgot what I was supposed to be getting. But as soon as I got back in the room that I'd come from, I immediately remembered what it was I'd gone to get. So something about remembering things is linked to actions that we take and where we go and what we do. Eating is another good way of remembering things. The memory of taste, of where we were as we ate something, helps us sort of bring things to mind. God came up with a way for the Israelites to always remember how they were saved from slavery in Egypt. Once a year, they celebrate the festival of Passover. It's celebrated with a very special meal, and specific foods are eaten. Some of the foods they include bitter herbs to remember the bitterness of slavery. Salt water is used to remind them of tears from the slaves. Fresh vegetables help them remember the hope of springtime. As the meal is eaten, the story of how they left Egypt is retold to the whole family. The youngest person there starts off by asking the questions. What is this about? And this isn't something that died out either. It continued to be celebrated faithfully every year, and it continues to this day. In the act of eating, memory is stimulated and we remember. Later this week, Christians remember Jesus celebrating Passover with his disciples. It was the last meal he would eat before he was arrested and crucified. As they were eating, Jesus told his disciples to remember him, that after he had been killed, remember his body as they ate bread, and as they drank wine, remember that his blood was going to be shed. I don't think they understood what it was about at that moment. I think they understood it later. But it's still something Christians do today. We remember because just as the Jews remember their salvation from Egypt as they celebrate Passover, Christians remember how Jesus saved us from taking the punishment for all the wrong things that we do and have ever done in our lives, enabling us instead to live in relationship with God and know that we will spend forever living with him. We remember it because it's really important to us. It gives us identity and reminds us that God really does love each and every one of us, whether we believe in him or not. And it had to be that way round. Jesus had to come and meet us because we had no way of getting to God. He's still available today, still waiting, hoping that everyone will make the decision to accept him and get to know him. If that's something you'd like to know more about, please, as always, do get in touch. I'll see you next week as we celebrate our most exciting day of the year, Easter Day. Rather than the day when we remember Jesus being killed, it's the day we remember Jesus back alive again, risen from the dead, and alive forever. Have a great week, and I'll see you then. God bless you.